Not long ago, we did a tour of our property in southwestern Michigan, and we showed you the house that we remodeled. And I told you that I would give you a independent, separate tour of the studio that I made for all of our video editing. Well, this is it. So come on in, and I'll give you a quick look at it. This room is actually a bedroom in the house. It measures about 15 feet long by about 11 feet wide. And when we put this thing in, we stripped it right down to the studs. We put in sound insulation in the ceiling and a little bit of it in the walls so we could have a fairly acoustically sound studio. I still have some work I want to do on that, but basically it all revolves around a custom desk, which is right here. This is 8 feet long, and it's about 30 inches wide. And on this end of the desk, I added a 2-foot extension so that we have some more room. And I'll show you why. That's for all of my ham radio gear that is there. But the main part is right here. This is where we do most of our video editing, and I'm going to give you a complete tour of all of the equipment that we have there. All right, let me assume the position here, and we'll show you how it all works. So let's start with the computer system. For my video editing and almost all of my studio work, I use the Mac Studio with Apple's powerful M2 chip. It has 64 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte of SSD memory. It's very fast. Now, my Mac Studio computer has been a powerhouse for me. It's very compact. It's able to handle even the most demanding editing projects that I do. My only regret is I wish I had bought more storage capacity, 2 terabytes, or even 4. Now, I shoot so much video that I fill up the 1 terabyte SSD drive on the Mac Studio fairly often. That's no big deal, but for convenience sake, I wish I had 4 terabytes of internal memory on the Mac Studio. The reason it's no big deal is because of this. This is a 4 gigabyte SanDisk portable SSD drive. So what I do is I just move those files from the Mac to this portable every month or so. And when this is filled, I'll just get another, and then I just can stack them up and store them, and I always have my video. While we're on the topic of computers, for my work on the road, I do everything on my MacBook Pro 16-inch with the M2 chip. It comes with 64 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of SSD memory. I used to have an external monitor, but on the road, that was overkill. Really, the 16-inch screen on the MacBook Pro is just fine. For editing, both in the studio and on the road, I use Final Cut Pro for Mac for my video projects. For audio editing, I use exclusively Adobe Audition. For monitors, I have several of them in the studio. My main one is this big LG ultra-wide 34-inch with a slightly curved screen. It's actually a gaming computer monitor, but it works perfect for video editing. It lets me see everything on those big projects that I'm doing. I also have a Samsung 27-inch monitor, and I use that for my amateur radio transceiver, and it's connected to a Mac Mini M2 computer that I use pretty much exclusively for email and web browsing in the studio. All of my monitors are on AVLT swivel desk mounts. They can be tilted, they can be moved to any position. For audio monitors, I have the Edifier-powered bookshelf speakers. They work wirelessly through Bluetooth, or as I do, you can plug it directly into your computer's audio output jack. It comes with a remote control, and it fills my studio with excellent sound for all the editing work that I'm doing on both my podcasts and my videos. Next, let's talk about the mixers and switchers. I'm a huge fan of the Rode Podcaster audio production console. So much, I have 2 of them, one for the studio and one we keep in the RV and take on location. It has 4 inputs, a 9-channel broadcast quality mixer with processing and fades and customizable buttons for triggering audio and effects. Our main studio microphones, both on adjustable boom arms are the Rode PodMic Dynamic Cardioid Broadcast Mic, both plugged into the Rode Podcaster. In the RV, I have two more pod mics. I use those on desk stands. They're plugged into our second podcaster, and that second one we always keep in our fifth wheel. So that is how we handle the audio. For video cameras in the studio, we essentially use four of them. They are the Sony a6100 mirrorless camera with a 16 to 50 millimeter lens. Also in the studio, there is a Canon EOS R mirrorless camera with a 24 to 50 millimeter lens that I sometimes put in the mix as well. On the road for vlogging, we shoot with a bunch of different cameras. The workhorse is the Canon M50 Mark II mirrorless camera with a 15 to 40 millimeter lens. I have an older M50 that I use for backup. Lately, we've added the fun Insta360 X3 action camera that shoots in 360 degrees, really offers some interesting perspectives, and it has this ability to make a long selfie stick disappear when you're shooting overhead. This camera can make shots that look like they were taken by a drone that's following you. And I do have a drone. It's the DJI Air with the screen remote controller. I keep it in a hardshell case with extra batteries in the RV. Also in our on-the-road kit is a GoPro Hero Black Model 10 with the media mod and a bunch of different mounts for sticking it in various surfaces for different perspectives. I have some older GoPros that we'll sometimes use as well for dash cam shots. All right, back in the studio with four cameras providing our video, a switcher is essential. I use the ATEM MIDI Extreme from Blackmagic. It takes my mixed audio from the podcaster and it has 9 inputs for my various cameras and even the computer screen. Let me show you how these cameras work that I have set up. As I said, we have 4 main cameras, and let me show you right now. I'm talking at the front-facing camera. It's positioned just above the monitor right there, but I have one over here. This is our side-facing camera, and normally when we're doing the podcast, Jennifer is here with me, and she'll be talking, and then we can switch back to the main computer, go to a right side camera, and there it is right there that sort of gets me and Jennifer and a different perspective on the room. So those are the 3 main cameras, but I also have an overhead camera up here. Sometimes if I'm like doing an Amazon live feed, I want to show perspective. If I'm holding something, I have a lot more room to show it, and it just breaks up the shot a little bit. And as I said, sometimes we will also use the Canon EOS R, and that is behind me, and it provides a back look at our situation here. So you just get another perspective. This is the main camera that I'm talking to right now. I wrote a macro program that will automatically switch from camera to camera at various intervals, and I can take any camera at will with just the touch of a button. We have the 4 main cameras that are front and side facing, and I'll use the EOS R as a back shot from time to time. I also have a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro, which is a smaller version of the switcher, and I keep that in the RV, and we'll use it there and on location from time to time. I have a small 13-inch monitor from Neoto that I have attached on the ATEM Mini Extreme, and that will show me each of my camera shots and the one that happens to be live at any given minute. And it's really handy to have that monitor that shows where all the camera shots are. One of the most important parts of our studio is the lighting system. Besides some standard overhead room lighting, we have recently added a very versatile 2-point studio panel lighting system from a company called LumeCube. I have 2 studio panel lights on adjustable 70-inch stands that can be remotely controlled and precisely adjusted to differing brightness levels or color temperatures. Now, both of these lights have adjustable barn doors, and that allows you to focus and shape the light. They have made a huge difference in the video quality that is captured by our various cameras. LumeCube also makes a small LED circular desk light on an adjustable swing arm, and we have one of those mounted just above the monitor between the big studio lights. And lastly, we have sometimes used a pair of LumeCube mini tube lights that can provide various colors to enhance the mood. The studio lights and the tube lights are all battery powered and rechargeable, so they can be taken on location if we should need to set up a portable studio somewhere else. So that is the tour of the studio. And I still have a couple of things I want to work on the echo in this room. I'm able to get most of that echo out in post-production through video editing, but part of the problem is because we have these two mics right here. And Jen and I, when we are talking for the podcast, when the two of us are together, my mic picks up her mic. Her mic picks up Mike. No, bad joke. But anyway, there is a slight echo there that is hard to get. The way to do it is if we would do the podcast facing each other, across from each other like this, but then we wouldn't have access to the computer and some of the material that we need for the video projects. But that's the studio, and I'd love to get your comments, your questions, and if you are looking at doing something similar, I can maybe save you some time, so be sure and send your questions in. Meantime, if you do us a favor, give us a thumbs up on this video if you liked it, and please subscribe. It really helps us when you guys subscribe to the RV Lifestyle channel. Google then knows about it, and it tells other people about it. So please subscribe if you haven't already. All right, I'm Mike Wendland. Thanks for watching, and happy trails.